Star Wars A New Dawn, Chapter 2. Look out, you big idiot. Seeing the bulky Thorolide hauler coming right at him, Kanan Jarrus forgot about talking and abruptly banked his freighter. He didn't waste time worrying whether the bigger vessel would veer in the same direction. He took his chance while the choice was still his. He was rewarded with survival and an alarmingly up-close look at the underbelly of the oncoming ship. "Sorry," crackled a voice over the comm system. "You sure are," Kanan said, blue eyes glaring from beneath his dark eyebrows. "I see that guy tonight in an alley. He better watch out." It was madness. Cinder's elongated elliptical orbit meant that the distance between the moon and Gorsk changed daily. Close approach days like today made the region between the worlds a congested demolition derby. But the appearance of the Star Destroyer and its destruction of the cargo ship had created a stampede in space, a race with two terrified groups bound in opposite directions, hurtling toward each other in the same transit lanes. Normally, Kanan would be the one pushing the limits to get where he was going. That was what kept him in drinking money, the main reason he had a job. But he also prided himself on keeping his cool when others were panicking, and that was surely happening now. Kanan had seen a Star Destroyer before, but he was pretty sure no one else around here had. Another freighter moved alongside. He didn't recognize this one. Almost shaped like a gem, with a bubble-like cockpit forward and another for a gunner seated above. It was a nice ride compared with anything else in the sky. Kanan goosed at the throttle, trying to pull alongside and get a glimpse of her driver. The freighter responded by zipping ahead with surprising speed, claiming his vector and causing him to lay off the acceleration. He gawked as the other pilot hit the afterburners, soaring far ahead. It was the one time he touched the brakes all trip, and it was instantly noticed. His consistent chirp, followed by a female voice, sounding none too happy. "You there, what's your identifier?" "Who's askin'?" "This is Captain Sloan of the Star Destroyer Ultimatum." "I'm impressed," Kanan said, smoothing the black hairs on his pointed chin. "What are you wearing?" "What?" "Just trying to get a picture. Hard to meet people out here." "I repeat, what's your—" "This is Expedient, flying for Moonglow Polychemical out of Gorsk City." He rarely bothered to activate his ID transponder. No one ever managed space traffic up here anyway. "Speed up, or else." Kanan sat lazily back in his pilot's seat and rolled his eyes. "You can shoot me if you want," he said in an almost slow, almost drawl. "But you need to know I am hauling a load of explosive-grade baridium sulfate for the mines of Cinder. It's testy stuff. Now, you might be safe from the debris in your big ship over there, but I can't speak for the rest of the convoy. And some of these folks are hauling the same thing that I am, so I'm not sure how smart that'd be." He chuckled lightly. "Be something to watch, though." Silence. Then, after a moment, "Move along." "Are you sure? I mean, you could probably record it and sell—" "Don't push it, grubber," came the icy response. "And try to go faster." He straightened one of his fingerless gloves and smiled. "Nice talking with you too. Ultimatum out." Kanan switched off the receiver. He knew there wasn't any chance of his being targeted once anyone with a brain understood what he was carrying. For their protection, miners only used Baby, the sardonic nickname for baridium sulfate, by the gram down in the mines of Cinder. Any Imperial would think twice before targeting a baby carrier too close by, and the Star Destroyer captain in particular would be less apt to call him again about anything after that conversation. That was also according to plan. He'd rather avoid that meeting, no matter what she might sound like. He mouthed Sloane's words mockingly. "Go faster." He was already flying the freighter at close to top speed. When fully loaded, Expedient wasn't going to give him even that much. The sarcastic name was his idea. The freighter's was Moonglow's, one of the dozens of identical vessels the company operated. The ships met with disastrous ends often enough. The firm didn't bother naming them. Suicide flyers didn't stay in the game long either, provided they survived, so Kanan had no idea how many people had flown his ship before him. Giving the baby carrier a name was just his attempt to give it even a single indemnity. It'd be nice, he thought, if on one of the planets he visited he could fly something with some class, like that ship that had just raced past him. But then, whoever owned it probably wouldn't let him take the liberties he did with Expedient. Like now, seeing the two mining haulers heading right for him, he banked the ship, corkscrewing behind them. They slowed down. He kept going. Let them watch out for me. His carefully secured payload didn't react to the sudden motion, but the maneuver did produce a dull thump from the back of the cargo area. He turned his head, his short clump of tied back hair brushing against the headrest. Through the corner of his eye, Kanan saw an old man on the deck, half swimming against the floor as he tried to get his bearings. "Morning, Okadiah." The man coughed. Like Kanan, Okadiah had a beard, but no mustache. But his hair was completely white. He'd been sleeping back with the Brody and Bolsafate containers on the one empty shelf. Okadiah preferred that to the acceleration couch in the main cabin. It was quieter. Figuring out which way was forward, the old man started to crawl. He addressed the air as he reached the co-pilot's seat. "I have determined I will not pay your fare, and you shall have no tip." "Best tip I ever got was to pick another line of work," Kanan said. "Huh." Actually, Okadiah Garson had several lines of work, all of which made him a perfect friend to have, in Kanan's eyes. Okadiah was foreman for one of the mining teams on Cinder, a 30-year veteran who knew his way around. And down on Gorse, the man ran the Astro Belt, a cantina favored by many of his own mining employees. Kanan had met Okadiah months earlier when he'd broken up a bar brawl at his bar. It was through Okadiah that Kanan had gotten the freighter pilot job with Moonglow. Even now, Okadiah lived in the flop house next door to the cantina. A landlord with a liquor supply was as good as a deal indeed. Okadiah claimed he only partook of his own ferments when someone got hurt in the mines. That was a handy conviction to have, considering it happened nearly every day. Yesterday's cave-in had been so bad it kept the party going all night long, causing Okadiah to miss his shift's personal shuttle. Baby carriers didn't get many passengers who had any other options of getting to work, and Kanan didn't take riders. But for Okadiah, he made an exception. "I dreamed I heard a woman's voice," the old man said, rubbing his eyes. "Stern, regal, commanding. Starship captain." "I like it," Okadiah said. She's no good for you, of course, but I'm a man of means. When do I meet this angel?" Kanan simply jabbed a thumb out the window to his left. There, the old man beheld Ultimatum, looming behind the frenetic rush of space traffic. Okadiah's bloodshot eyes widened, then narrowed, as he tried to determine exactly what it was that he was looking at. He finally said. "That wasn't there yesterday." "It's a Star Destroyer." "Oh dear, are we going to be destroyed?" "I didn't ask," Kanan said, grinning. He didn't know how an old miner on an armpit like Goose had come by his gentle manner of speech, but it always amused him. Somebody got on the wrong side of her. Know anyone on Cinder dreaming? Okadiah scratched his chin. "Part of the Chaldean crew. Tall fellow, skinny hammerhead. He's run up quite a tab at the asteroid belt." "Well, you can forget about collecting." "Oh," Okadiah said, turning again to look out the window. There was still a bit of debris from the unlucky freighter about. "Kanan, lad, you do have a way of sobering a person up." "Good, we're almost there." Expedient rolled and angled downward toward the white surface of its airless Cinder. An artificial crater had been hollowed out as a landing approach zone. Half a dozen red-lit landing bays had been gouged into its sides, connecting with the mining areas farther below. Bringing Expedient to hover over the crater, Kanan turned the ship towards its appointed entrance. Okadiah turned his head forward and squinted. "There's my transport now." "Told you we'd catch up." They had caught up, but it wasn't purely from Kanan's efforts. The Empire's unreasonable directive had played a role. The personnel transport Okadiah was supposed to have been on had attempted to enter the bay way too quickly, and had clipped the side of the doorway. Now it sat blocking the entrance, disabled and partially hanging over the edge. It was in no danger of falling, but the magnetic shield that would seal the cavern against the void could not be activated. Spacesuited workers were visible in the bay, staring helplessly at the wreck. "Move it," Kanan said over the comm. "Stay put, Moonglow 72, crackled the response from the control tower at the center of the crater. "We'll get you in after we get the wood circuited and offloaded." "I'm on a schedule," Kanan said, lifting Expedient out to hover mode and moving towards the entrance. Objections came loudly over the communicator, getting Okadiah's attention. He glanced at Kanan. "You're aware we're carrying high explosives?" "I don't care," Kanan said. "Do you?" "Not at all. Sorry to disturb. Carry on." Kanan did, expertly bringing Expedient's stubby nose toward the exposed side of the personal carrier. He could see the miners inside its windows, clamoring futilely at him as his ship made contact with a clang. Expedient's engines straining, Kanan's gunned the ship forward, dislodging the personal transport from the edge. The noisy scrape reverberated through both vessels, and Okadiah glimpsed nervously back into the cargo section. But in moments, both ships were inside the landing area. The magnetic shield sealed the landing bay, and Kanan deactivated his engines. Okadiah whistled. He regarded Kanan with mild wonderment for a moment, and then placed his hands on the dashboard before him. "Well, that's that." He paused, seemingly confused. "We drink after work. Is that correct?" "That's right." "Entirely wrong order," the old man said, wobbling slightly as he rose. "Let's get to it, then.